I told our kids we needed to get to 70, which has been hard for us to do this season. But I also told them, and no disrespect to Murray, but they're not as concerned about us offensively because they got their number that they're trying to get to, and that's 90, what they're averaging. I was proud of our young ladies' execution. I was proud of the tempo that they started out with in their attack of the press early on. I told them this offensive output against a lot of other teams in our conference would be good enough. With Murray, you got to try to slow him down in ways. And the one thing that hurt us, we talked about taking care of the ball. When you talk about the difference in the game, we talked about taking care of the basketball because they can convert so quickly. Our turnovers didn't come off the press. Our turnovers came from not making that one more pass and just trying to force the issue when the paint was collapsed. But it triggers their break, and they score so quickly, either at the rim or with a kick-out three. We did some things to try to slow. We know Caitlin, this better be her last year. We know she's a heck of a player. But their young kid, Ford, executes the pick and roll as well as Sabrina Nescu. And so we knew it would be difficult. We had a couple different schemes to try to slow them down. We finally start doing it in the second quarter, and it worked a little bit, but they got it revved up back in the third. Again, guys, our young ladies don't quit. I wanted to keep them under 20 per quarter, and I'm trying to show our young ladies how close we are to that. You're two possessions away in the first quarter and 3 possessions and a free throw in the third quarter to trying to hold them under 20 per quarter. If you do that, and we were scoring like we were scoring besides for the drought we had in the second quarter, I think those numbers will be good enough. And that's what we've done at their place. They turned the game around on us a little bit with that pick and roll because that's how we scored on them to get into the 70s at their place and at home last year. So we just got to get some kids. Kayla Cooper, she's practiced like that all week. She's practiced all week. She's taken her game to another level, and it just started with confidence. So I'm proud that kid has had some success there. We know the triple, quadruple teams are coming with gift. And what we told her was, you got to be willing to get rid of it early to get it back. Trust your teammates. We were knocking down some shots for her, but I told her, honey, it's a privilege. Expect every game plan starts with you. And she got a little flustered in there, but I'm proud of her. My 5 freshmen that were on the floor to end it, super proud of AP. I told AP, I've been in your shoes. I've been the third string quarterback, and you can sit over here and wait for 1 and 2 reps in practice, or you can get out there with that men's practice team and ball out. She balled out this week, and I'm glad I was able to reward her with some minutes to get better.
You mentioned, Kayla, I was going to ask, not just the way she practiced, but obviously scoring what she did. How impressive a bounce back was that from the game at Valpo on Sunday?
It was, and she knew afterwards. I talked to her. I talked about one of our former men's coaches, Lance Irvin, was at the game, and he had a chance to spend some time. And sometimes hearing it from a different voice, the same things we've been telling her. But Lance didn't know that kid, and his eyes went to her. And I told her, she was like, hey, can I mention? I was like, hey, go talk to her, tell her. And sometimes it takes other people seeing what you can't see. Her parents, our coaches, and we can all say it. But Kayla has to make the choice. She's made the choice this week, and we want her to keep building with that. My challenge, I've challenged a couple of my veteran guards. We got to get better. We're better defensively when I can play Janiyah and Tierney. And though both those kids have been out for different reasons, but my challenge to them is I need their voices. And I don't care what's going on in the course of the game. You two are veteran leaders. Your teammates elected you captains for a reason. I need those two's voices when they're on the floor.
Yeah, I know this is going to be a weird analogy, but when you talk about needing their voices, kind of like watching Gordon Ramsay on Hell's Kitchen, wanting the chef to speak up.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got to. Early, loud, and often. Early, loud, and often. The folks that's rolling through here in January, we got to be locked in defensively. And we keep making steps towards it. But when we talk about limiting them to 20 points or below for quarters, and you just take away that, Make them score. Make them hit the contested three. Make them hit the drive. But don't give them the wide open gifts that we're giving. If we can just eliminate 50% of the gifts that we're given, I think we'll be in some ball games.
How much is that? How much of that is because maybe there's not enough talking on the defense?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I mean, and like I told him, I don't want my palms up players. I want players that can talk. Hey, we got it. We're good. That's my job too, is to keep us at a neutral level where we just keep chipping away, and chipping away. We didn't quite get it in this game like we got the run in Valverde because they turned it up in that third quarter. And so we're going to go back to the film because other people will try to do it to us too and just look at some other things that we can do to slow that pick and roll down. But kudos to their kids and kudos to their coaches for their game planning. But, guys, I'm telling you, I love this team. I love our young ladies, and we're going to keep chipping away. And that's what I told them, to keep working like they did this week with love. Nobody has an attitude. Nobody's pointing fingers. Everybody's trying to find solutions, and we're going to get better. It's just not in the timing that I want. But I was so encouraged with all of our fans and supporters that have called and written our players, not just me, but text our players. That's what Southern Illinois is. And Southern Illinois recognizes when people are fighting. And that's what I told our young, keep fighting. They'll support you.
You're talking about gift, and then people game planning for her.
Yep.
How do you make her at least a decent enough passer to get the ball out of a double team?
Yeah, well, we can't stand either. It's not just her sometimes.
Right.
But like I said with TT, we know how they're going to guard you. But I love you as my middle feeder in there because as soon as they turn, you're quick enough to be at that rim. Gift, put it up. If they collapse off her, that means the next one's open. And so that's the film that we're showing her. The stuff we're running, is no different than what some of the teams have beat them with. And we show them that in terms of the offenses that we're running. So putting her in a position where there was one time she's dead middle and 4 people were on her. And that has to be an easy pass, a direct feed out to Alice, at that point. But Gift is young in that she's trying to make something happen. She feels like, hey, they need me to score. I don't need her to lead us in assists, but I do need her to kick it out instead of getting that turnover.
Quick turnaround for Saturday now with Belmont.
Yep.
What kind of different challenge does Belmont present from, say, the one you had in here tonight?
Yeah, they're going to try to defend you, a little bit more than Murray. They're going to come after you a little bit more. And, again, that's not taking anything away from Murray. Murray's just going to play like Loyola Marymount. They just want to get that ball out, and they want to go score it. But, again, we're still going to face a pick and roll with the sophomore coming back in here off of ACL. We're going to high-low game. In that, but you're going to find they're going to test our shooters and see if we can knock down some shots as well because they're going to tighten up that paint.